Welcome everyone to the June 6, 2019 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you all please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm Barb Lewis, President. To my left is Vice President Jeff Benton. To my right, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill, and our Assistant Administrator, Deputy Administrator Don Houston, and our Clerk Sarah DeNova. We can begin.
Resolution number 19-530, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceedings from regular meeting held June 3rd, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-530. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public comment this morning. Resolution number 19-531, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then announced and payments of warrants and batch number CMA PR 0605.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-531. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-532, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-532. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-533, in the matter of appointing members to the Delaware County Workforce Partnership Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Bob Lamb, Economic Development Director. Commissioners, before you is a request to establish a workforce committee to look at various issues that are challenging the businesses in our county with securing the workforce that they need. This is part of a greater workforce initiative that we're undertaking that over the course of the summer will look at mobile industry sectors as well as transportation and housing issues that our county and community face when it comes to being able to attract and secure and retain the workforce needed to make our businesses successful. Jenna Goring from my office is going to come up here and walk you through the workforce committee specifically. She will be leading that effort on the workforce initiative side for the economic development office. This is probably one of the most critical undertakings that we're going to be doing over the next year or two. As we go through with the Berlin Business Park and other projects, if we do not have the workforce and the transportation networks in place to accommodate their needs, we will not be successful in being able to attract that commercial investment that we want to see come to our community.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jenna Gehring. As our Workforce Partnership Committee, we have members from Ohio Means Jobs, the Delaware Area Career Center, which will be representative of all of our school districts, because the person, Lisa Marie Reinhardt, her job is to work with all of the K through 12 school districts in the county. So we appointed that person. The Columbus State Community College Delaware campus, another representative from economic development from the city of Delaware, and then we have two private sector members, which are from the Tanger Outlets and Greif. We thought that would be a good representative from both retail and some private sector business to kind of help us guide us along what the private sector needs as well. And as Bob kind of mentioned, there are many issues with workforce as far as the education pipeline aspect, the retention aspect, and the attraction aspect of workforce. And with that entails affordable housing and workforce housing and transportation issues that hopefully this group will be a nice sounding board for all those things. I recommend your approval.
Could you just explain what Delaware County, Ohio Means Jobs is? That
That's our Job and Family Services.
jobs and,
Yeah.
okay, okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-533. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Jen.
you. Good luck.
Resolution number 19-534, in the matter of approving the child placement services contracts and first amendments between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services, and child placement providers, Young Star Academy, Department of Mental Health, Eastway Corporation, Community Teaching Homes Incorporated, National Youth Advocate Program, and Osterland Service for Youth.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Anderson, Director of Job and Family Services. These are all contracts just to cover placement of children placed in our care. These will run through the end of June, and then we will have for our new state fiscal year, we will be presenting new contracts with the same providers.
So there are no changes in the rates
No.
with these? These are just
No, and-
calendar adjustments?
They give us their rate sheets that we're actually only giving them an option once a year now to increase rates, and that'll be with the July 1st forward, and then those rates will stand. We're currently tracking to be within $50,000 of expenditures last year for placement costs. Our staff's been doing a really nice job of bringing kids out of care sooner, and we're also having lower placement rates just because of type of placements we're having. So right now, we're projecting less than estimated during the budget hearings.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-534. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-535, in the matter of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners accepting and approving the 2020-2021 biennial subgrant agreement with the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services and Ohio Department of Medicaid for the Delaware County Departments of Job and Family Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, this is just the agreement with Ohio Job and Family Services and Office of Medicaid, basically a 2-year agreement that provides our funding through the state.
This is a significant portion of your funding, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
These two sources?
Yes, it's the majority of our funding is going to come through those two offices.
Okay.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-535. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-536, in the matter of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners accepting and approving the SSBG Title 20 plan for the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
And I was over a month or so ago and had the public hearing approved. We do have the recommendation from the Family Services Planning Committee to move forward with this. This is our federal social service block grant funding. We report to the state. They compile all the counties and then report on behalf of the state of Ohio. We use this money primarily for adult protective services, children's services, and a little bit of transportation if needed.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-536. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Bob.
you.
Resolution number 19-537, in the matter of reappointing the member and appointing a member to the Delaware County Local Corrections Planning Board.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Haas, Director of Communications. We have before you a resolution to reappoint Cy Keeley to the Corrections Planning Board and to appoint a new member, Neil Patel, who's interested in taking the spot that Mohan Sachdeva previously occupied. Just so you're aware, this group needs to exist in order for basic grant monies to make its way to our adult court services and to other, organizations within the justice and law enforcement realm, so.
And I think we have to have representative from the Asian community because.
We do. It's an unusual requirement, but basically, based on the last U.S. Census, the group that is determined to be the largest minority, this is where at least 2 members of this overall board have to be members of that group, and it's defined by the last census as being Asian. And it usually falls to us with the public at large seats to be the ones to make up for that requirement.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-537. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number
Thank you.
19-538, in the matter of awarding a bid and approving a contract between the Delaware County Commissioners and Altman Company for the project known as Delaware County Historic Courthouse.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, John Melvin, Director of Facilities. We received a total of 4 bids for the general contract for the renovations to the historic courthouse. The Altman General Contractors were the parent low bidders. Schooley Caldwell Associates, we did a scope review with them, and we're recommending awarding the contract to them. Just note, they did come in, they were about 5% over the estimate. We had 2 bids that were 9% over the estimate, and the 4th bid was way over the estimate. So we're recommending award.
Okay,
And As I understand it from our conversation, school is going to provide the direct oversight of this.
Yes, as part of their contract we did with them, they are providing us construction administration. Wayne Bartholomew is their construction administrator. Yeah, he sat down, we did the scope review together, went over the bids, and he'll be here at least once a week, and, you know, he'll be reviewing all their submittals and stuff. And we'll be monitoring their schedules and monitoring closely.
Okay. And what is the timeline now?
We haven't got the final schedule yet. We gave them 11-month construction period, but, you know, they actually have a third party coming in to do their detailed schedule, so that'll be one of the first tasks they have. They have like 30 days to actually get that to us. I'd actually had some email conversations this morning. They're ready to mobilize probably within a week of giving them notice to proceed, which probably be, so probably within 2 weeks, they'll be ready to mobilize on site.
So within a month or so, we'll be ready for construction?
Yeah, you'll see them out here, start set up
By
construction fence.
This time next year?
Yes.
We should be done.
And there is a penalty clause in there for,
Yeah, there's been a clause, but, you know, again, we're renovating a historic building, so anytime you do renovations, you're susceptible to unforeseen issues. So, since we're doing a complete renovation, all new mechanicals, and really going back to the bare bones, shouldn't be too many unforeseen items, but hopefully everything goes
I
well.
believe our council has something to add.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that you're referring to the liquidated damages clause,
Yes.
correct? That's not a penalty, just so
Well,
Yeah,
we're
it's,
clear for the
yes.
record.
It's not a penalty clause, there is liquidated damages in the contract.
okay, sorry, I used the wrong legal term. What's the square footage of the building, John? Roughly?
Off the top of my head, I want to say it's around 20,000 square feet, but there's, you know, give and take net square footage.
Sure, sure. What's the total cost of the project now that we know the construction figure? School is
I don't have that off
contract.
the top of my head. As far as the soft costs.
Yeah, all the
and
costs.
All the costs together. I can get you that. I don't have it off the top of my head. I don't recall. Because we also will have furniture. The next thing, we'll probably do a contract. You know, we still have to do all the furnitures and electronics go into it as well. So I can get you that updated spreadsheet as far as our total cost running.
That'd be great if you could let us all know on that.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-538. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-539, in the matter of awarding a bid and approving a contract between the Delaware County Commissioners and American Electric Equipment Company Incorporated for the project known as ITB number 19-05, 911 towers and battery replacement.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Brandt, 911 Director. What we have before you is a contract to replace the batteries at our tower sites. This was originally budgeted for this year at $96,000. The low bidder came in at $77,000, so we were very happy with that number. Director Melvin's talked to them, and we believe everything's in order. The other bids we had were, one was $11,000 higher, and then the one was way over. So, but we're recommending approval. These batteries are 14 years of age, so they've got their full use of life out of them.
Yeah.
When would this work be done?
The schedule to be started in 6 to 8 weeks, depending on delivery of the batteries. And then they'll go from tower site to tower site replacing them.
How many tower sites?
We have a dozen total, but this contract's for 10 of them. 2 of them we had already done last
Oh,
year.
I see.
Due to
Okay.
some other work.
Okay, thank you. Vote?
Vote on motion 19-539. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 19-540, in the matter of accepting the drainage maintenance inspection report for 2019 and establishing percentage of maintenance assessments for 2020.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. Each year, we bring to you a summary of the drainage inspection for the previous year and a proposed collection rate for each of the 500-plus projects that we maintain on the county drainage system. The total estimated cost of all the infrastructure we maintain under this program is about $90 million. This is a huge program that we maintain. The collections are broken down per project, and those are itemized in the journal, as you see. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those, or we have staff representatives from Soil and Water as well as my office here to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, I know we do this every year, but were there any surprises, trends that you're seeing in the maintenance assessments?
Surprises, not really. Trends, I think we're trending in the right direction, and what I mean by that is we're seeing an upward trend in the balance, the cash balance of the fund, and that's a good thing because we eventually are going to have to do some major repairs and replacements on this system. So $90 million worth of infrastructure, it doesn't stay static, it ages every year and gets worse. So ultimately, we try to set the rate of collection so that there's no spike when each project does come time to have some major repairs or replacements, that those residents don't draw the unlucky card, I guess, of being the ones that happen to be there when the problems arise. So we make sure that we're trending in the right direction to have that cash available in that account when the time comes to use it, and so we can ride out keep that cash flow steady and not cause any major issues for the residents.
Yeah, I recall asking that question last year. Are we staying on top of it? So I'm glad to hear
Yes.
that we are, because people don't want surprises.
Yep.
Any questions? Vote.
Vote on motion 19-540. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Right.
Resolution number 19-541, in the matter of declaring the necessity for improvements to Africa Road and approving a professional services agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a new project we're proposing to begin on Africa Road. This project would run from Worthington Road, from Worthington Road to Big Walnut Road. That's about a little over a mile stretch of road. This section of road has some, if you're familiar with the section of road, it has some vertical issues as well as the width of the road. We'd like to see that go to a 3-lane section. And so what we're proposing to do is go through the engineering. We have selected the firm of Prime Engineering through a qualifications-based selection process. We have worked with Prime before. They do a very nice job, so confident they'll do the same on this. This contract will take us roughly 1/3 of the way through the engineering process, so this will kind of look at all the different options we have available in terms of design and geometrics, and then get us to a point where we can renew this or modify this contract for final design. The project, we're several years away from actually doing any construction work on this. I think it's, we're probably looking at the 2023 to 25 ballpark for when we would actually do the work. So I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-541. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-542, in the matter of approving a project agreement with the Delaware County Transportation Improvement District for Home Road Extension east of US 23.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I'm very happy to have this contract for you for your approval. This is a lot of work's gone into this, but this will be our first TID project, and it's a big one. It's about a $10.4 million extension of Home Road east of 23. The contract basically states that the county will deposit approximately 50% of the cost with the TID for this year's estimated expenditures, and then the remaining 50% once we know exactly what the cost is, and that would be up to $5.2 million per year. And this project will be underway probably in August or September of this year and be complete by September of 2020 if all goes according to plan. So again, really excited to see this one move forward.
Yes. Any comments?
Yeah,
questions?
this
Yeah, this is a big one.
A big step
Yeah.
in the east-west corridor we're working so hard to improve, so good to see.
I would like to add, we've had a really good partnership with the developer on this project, Schottenstein Real Estate Group, as well as the Kerbler family. They're contributing a significant amount of money towards this project, and obviously, this road benefits their development as much as, at least as much as the county benefits from having this east-west connectivity that we'll ultimately have once the railroad bridge is built, connecting up to Lewis Center Road. So I think this is a really good example of partnership and what can be done with working together on these types of projects.
Yeah, and using the TID,
Yes, absolutely.
which is something we created a year ago, I guess it was, and it's great to see it taking shape and contributing in a big way.
I guess this is really 3 projects. It's getting over roughly around the railroad tracks, then over the railroad tracks, and then up to Lewis Center ultimately, so.
Yes. And this contract will also include the sanitary sewer extension. We have a huge area that, if Tiffany were here, I know she could speak to this, but I think there's a huge area that ultimately this sewer main will serve. It's been some years we've been wanting to have this, and we'll finally get it in place. So accomplished, it checks off a lot of boxes, if you will. We've been working hard at this, and a lot of some of the folks in this room have should share in the credit, and so we glad to move forward.
Thank you. Yes, a lot of very hard work by a lot of people.
Good to
Yes.
see.
Vote?
Vote on motion 19-542. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-543, in the matter of approving a right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We just have 8 pretty routine utility installation permits. We reviewed all the proposed work and conforms with our standards, and we're recommending approval.
Vote?
Vote on motion 19-543. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 19-544, in the matter of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners accepting and approving the 2020-2021 biennial sub-grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services and the Ohio Department of Medicaid, the Delaware County Child Support Enforcement Agency.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Joyce Bowens, Director of Delaware County Child Support. The purpose of this agreement is to allow federal and state funding pass through the Department of Job and Family Services to the counties, and I'm asking for your approval.
Vote?
Vote on motion 19-544. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like, we could skip ahead to administrative reports.
I have nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Merrill?
I have nothing specific to, anything specific that I've done in my return, but I do have, this is a very, very important day. And we look at our veterans who served in World War II, and we see people in their older years, but these were 18 and 19 and 20 and 21-year-old kids when they landed on the beaches in Normandy and 300 yards to those cliffs and getting up those cliffs when well-bunkered German soldiers. And Americans and the Allies that were with them that day, many, many lives were lost. And I think sometimes we kind of forget these are kids who had futures in front of them, and many of them gave their lives that day. And it's something we shouldn't forget. It was a huge day, a turning point in the war, and it gave us that first access to the coastline there to give us a foothold. So all days we should thank our veterans, but today specifically, all the veterans, and specifically today, and honoring our World War II veterans. So I'd just like to make that point, and thank you to all our veterans, and specifically those veterans today. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Benton?
Yeah, I guess just following on to those well-spoken comments, it is a very special day, 75 years. Most of the veterans who are still here, and it's a very small group anymore, are well into their 90s. And I had the pleasure of going to the 60th anniversary celebration of D-Day in Normandy. And I met a lot of the veterans, and they're all just humble guys. You know, they're just everyday people. And met a gentleman named Forrest Guth, who was a member of the Band of Brothers. You know, he was one of the Band of Brothers, and he was there, and he was just talking, and just a really nice guy, and he was very concerned about his wife, who was struggling, and he was taking care of her, and we helped him, but I asked him how realistic the Band of Brothers series was. He said it was very realistic, except we didn't swear that much.
And that's replaying on HBO the next few days.
Yes, yeah,
That series.
He said the swearing,
So you gotta
we just
seen it.
didn't do that. So, but he was just, and we met a number of the other veterans that were there, and, you know, they were in their late 70s, early 80s at that point.
That's right.
And you stand up on the cliffs and you just say, how in the world did they get this done? You know, you just, man, the Germans had all the tactical advantages, and yet, you know, because of the leadership and the training and the inspiration, they got it done. It was an amazing, amazing feat. So anyway, that's again, as Commissioner Merrill said,
Yes.
thank a veteran every day, but
Yes.
thank them especially today. And, you know, there's still, you know, a handful of active World War II veterans, D-Day veterans. Don Jakeway lives in Johnstown. He's active. And he was a paratrooper. He parachuted in on the night of the 6th, the night of the 5th, 6th, and survived, and just has great stories to tell. So again, just thank the veterans.
And not just we talk about Normandy, but really all the veterans in World War II, many of them served in the Pacific.
Oh, absolutely.
So it was not just this area. Our country made a huge commitment to, and my father-in-law served in the Pacific and underwater demolition, never talked about it. And I wish I'd asked more questions, but they were quietly went about their job.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was going to say the same thing about D-Day as you both so eloquently had stated, but it's just a reminder to all of us, and it's so easy to take our freedom for granted, and the cost of that freedom are the men who fought there, many of which just didn't return. And I was listening today as I came in to one 100-year-old veteran who was involved in D-Day, and you know, he said, I wasn't brave. I was just scared as a rabbit, and I just did what I needed to do. I mean, and the amount of humility and sheer courage and bravery. I mean, we really need to thank them over and over again, and going on to be, you know, to safeguard our nation and our republic too, because freedom is never free. Okay.
But I did have a couple other things.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've got,
Yes.
yeah, don't want to miss the other things. We've got MORPC Executive Committee this afternoon, got a SEPCO board meeting tomorrow. And I did want to compliment UCLA on their victory in the Women's Softball World Series.
And well-deserved, they played well.
Yeah. And in a victory, in a sweep of their opponent. So I just wanted to congratulate UCLA.
Finished number 2 in the country, which is nothing to be modest about.
It's a good thing I'm in the middle. Oh, my goodness. We do have a hearing as I watch the clock move towards 10.
And it's stuck.
In about 10, in 15 seconds we'll be there.
It's stuck.
All right.
And the second it stops.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Okay, that is
Did stop.
9:59.
We're
Okay, we're almost there. Yeah, thank you.
That is weird, we're sitting here talking about it, and the clock, second literally stops.
Thank heavens for the smartphones. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So we'll just begin the hearing.
Yeah, I'll open it and read the
Okay,
weighting of
and
the
then
stuff. and then-
Okay. Okay.
Good to go.
All right, good to go. Okay.
Okay. Resolution number 19-545, public hearing for consideration of the Life Point Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-545. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-546, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limitations, and Rule 7, public comment procedure from the rules governing public comment before the Board of Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote?
Vote on motion 19-546. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Life Point Church Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition for the consideration of the Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition. Okay, Scott.
Good morning, Scott Stevens, Administrator with the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. I'll read the first hearing report into the record, and then any questions you may have or testimony at that point, so, all right.
Okay. There is a sign-in sheet circulating. Anyone who wishes to speak, if you'd please sign in. The first thing that we're going to do is hear a report from the county engineer in the Soil and Water Conservation District, and then if there may be questions from the board, and we'll hear then for those in favor of the petition, and then from those opposed to the petition. And during the testimony, I just need you to take an oath ahead of time. Pastor, I see you sitting there, very confident on that. And then we'll go back and forth, and if there's any new information, additional people may also speak. And after listening to the testimony and the report of the engineer, the board will decide whether to grant the prayer of petition or to dismiss the petition. And the board considers the following in their decision: whether the board hereby finds that the proposed improvement is necessary, that it will be conducive to the public welfare, and the board also finds that if we do find for the petition, that it is reasonably certain that the cost of the proposed improvement will be less than the benefits. If the board grants the prayer of petition, the Delaware County engineer will proceed with the preparation of plans, reports, and individual schedules of assessments for the project. When the plans are complete, a final hearing will be set, notification of the hearing will be given to landowners, and the board will consider the project. All right, back to you, Scott.
All right, so I'll go ahead and read the report into the record then. It's the first hearing report for the Life Point Church petition. This report has been prepared for the preliminary hearing on a drainage improvement petition filed by Life Point Church on February 26, 2018. The petition has been signed by representatives of one of the two parcels in the watershed. The general location and course of the requested improvements is quoted from the petition as follows. Commencing at the western property line of the 14.666 acre parcel conveyed to Life Point Church, parcel ID number 31823001008003003, thence west across the 3.102 acre parcel owned by Sandra Gooding and Susan L. Alley, parcel ID number 318230010080001, to an existing culvert that crosses under Columbus Pike, extending to where an adequate and sufficient outlet is provided. The following is the nature of work petitioned for, as quoted from the petition: to generally improve the drainage, both surface and subsurface, to a good and sufficient outlet by replacing, repairing, and/or altering the existing improvements as required, and/or creating new surface and subsurface drainage mains as requested by this petition. The development of plans for the construction of said improvement shall be paid for by Life Point Church. Petition process. This petition has been submitted according to Section 6131 of the Ohio Revised Code, which authorizes the Board of Commissioners to act on behalf of benefited property owners to make drainage improvements. If the Board of Commissioners decides to proceed with a project, the costs related to the improvements and the development of plans, reports, schedules are assessed to the landowners in the watershed according to the benefit received to their watershed acreage. These special assessments will be added to the property taxes for each property and can be spread over a maximum of an 8-year period. Property owners may also choose to pay their assessment in a lump sum payment prior to placement on their property taxes. Additionally, the improvements will be placed on the Delaware County Drainage Maintenance Program in perpetuity per Ohio Revised Code Section 6137, and the annual maintenance assessment will appear on property tax statements as a special assessment in the same manner as the construction assessments. These annual maintenance assessments are generally in the range of 2 to 3% of the construction assessment. It should be noted that property owners are only assessed for those improvements that are located downstream from their properties. No property is assessed for improvements located upstream. The public agencies that own rights-of-way for public roads and other public lands are also assessed for both construction and maintenance costs in the same manner as private property owners. The decision to approve a petition project is a three-step process. First, a viewing of the proposed improvement is conducted for the commissioners to familiarize themselves with the watershed and general conditions. The commissioners conducted the viewing for this project on May 6, 2019. Next, a preliminary hearing is held to consider the initial feasibility of the proposal. It is this preliminary first hearing that is before us today. If this petition is approved, a final hearing will be conducted to further consider this petition. At that time, final details such as engineering plans and specifications, cost estimates, and a proposed schedule of assessments will be known. Existing conditions. The Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District and the Delaware County Engineers Office have made the following observations of the watershed using on-site evaluation and a review of available aerial photography, topographic mapping, and soils mapping. The Life Point Church watershed is approximately 9.4 acres. The predominant land use within the watershed is currently agriculture. The petitioner has indicated plans to develop the land to a commercial activity. The drainage system does not appear to be functioning at or near optimum capacity due to a lack of comprehensive maintenance and the generally deteriorated condition of the infrastructure. Numerous blowouts have been observed in the subsurface drain system, and there is a significant amount of brush in the surface drainage pattern. There's a lack of uniform surface grading in the watershed. These conditions are indicators of an aged, overburdened, and unmaintained drainage infrastructure. While the existing drainage system still provides some degree of drainage benefit, it does not appear to function as a good and sufficient outlet. Estimated cost factors, favorable, unfavorable, and benefit versus cost. Ohio Revised Code 6131 requires the county engineer to state and report factors favorable and unfavorable to a proposed project, estimate the cost of the project, and state an opinion as to whether the benefits of the project exceed the cost. The following information is presented for your consideration. Construction estimate. The proposed project would include the following basic elements: storm tile installation, shaping and grading, seeding and mulching of the disturbed areas. Construction estimate, $33,785. The drainage maintenance first year startup, 5% of the construction estimate at $1,689.25. Project administration, survey, and engineering, 15% of the construction estimate, $5,067.75, for a total project estimate of $40,542. Note, it is important to understand that the above estimates are preliminary and made in the absence of a current detailed topographic survey of the project area. In additional notes, should the project fail to be approved at the final hearing, the benefiting landowner, as defined by Revised Code Section 6131, may still be responsible for the cost of project administration, survey, and engineering design. Assessments. If the project moves forward to the second hearing, the Ohio Revised Code instructs the county engineer to calculate the assessments to individual property owners based on benefits received from the improvement for the various properties in the watershed. The ORC 6131 states that uplands that have been removed from their natural state by deforestation, cultivation, artificial drainage, urban development, or other man-made causes shall be considered as benefited by an improvement required to dispose of the accelerated flow of water from the uplands. Benefits are further defined by the ORC as elimination or reduction of damage from flood, removal of water conditions that jeopardize the public health, safety, or welfare, and increased value of land resulting from the improvement. Individual parcel assessments are not calculated for the preliminary hearing and are only calculated if the petition moves forward to a second and final hearing. Per the petitioner has indicated their desire to have all of the costs for this project applied to the lands owned by the petitioner. Factors favorable and unfavorable. Factors favorable to the improvement. Improvement of surface and subsurface drainage in the watershed. Improvement of outlet for detention and retention areas. Reduction of future deterioration of surface and subsurface drainage infrastructure. Annual inspection and maintenance of the improvement in perpetuity. Factors unfavorable to the improvement. Temporary land use disruption during construction. Cost of construction and maintenance may be a burden to some landowners. Removal of existing trees and brush in the improvement area. Benefit versus cost. Assessments for property within the watershed are calculated based on the benefits derived for a project of this nature. It would be reasonable to consider the increased value of land that would result from an improved drainage outlet of which the petitioner is seeking. In this area, an improved outlet would allow for stormwater drainage system to be designed to an increased capacity, potentially resulting in higher land value. Conclusions. Based on all the information gathered and generated for this project, I believe this project is technically feasible and would adequately serve the project area's drainage needs. However, the testimony brought to the board by landowners as to whether the benefits of the project exceed the cost should be given significant consideration in the decision to move forward with this project. Should the current petition be approved to proceed to the final hearing, the petition bond will be returned, and detailed plans, specifications, estimated costs, and a schedule of assessments would be prepared. Additionally, a benefit versus cost analysis will be performed to further determine the feasibility of advancing this proposed project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Not this time.
Okay. All right. At this time, we'll hear from all those in favor of the petition. If you could please come forth and state your name and address, and I will swear you in.
Adam Wallace, representative of Life Point Church. I'm the administrative pastor.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear, if you'll raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You got it.
I do.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
So on behalf of Life Point Church, as a representative, I would like to ask the Board of Commissioners to grant a continuance in the matter of the petition so that Life Point may explore further the opportunity to purchase the Gooding property, if that would be something that the county commissioners would be willing to do.
Okay. All righty. I think we will,
Probably should hear if there's any opposition.
yeah, we'll hear if there's any. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you very much. Is there any opposition to the petition?
The continuance.
Or, the petition or the continuance as presented? Okay. Then I think we should read any other questions? Then we're going to read the...
We're going to have to set a date.
We have it.
You have a date?
Okay.
If the engineer's office in Soil and Water thinks that August 22nd.
Can't hear you. Yeah.
We have a resolution prepared for August 22nd, but I'm going to defer to the engineer's office in Soil and Water if that isn't enough time for.
It would certainly accommodate us if the desire of the pastor and the church there to, if they need more time than that to explore the opportunity of purchasing that parcel, then maybe something later than August 22nd would be prudent at that point. But August 22nd for us would be satisfactory. Would be good. Okay.
Okay. August 22nd then. Okay.
So we need to recess.
We'll continue the hearing. Yes. Resolution number 19-547, in the matter of setting date and time for the continuation of the public hearing for the consideration of Life Point Church Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition Project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-547. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
So we've continued, and now we can jump clear ahead to executive session, if that's okay.
Okay. And we do not mention the date at this?
Yeah,
We mentioned the date, August 22nd at 10 a.m.
Okay.
That'll be a Thursday.
We will, right. This hearing has been continued then until August 22nd, 2019. Thank you very much. And we do have need for executive session?
Yes.
Okay.
Resolution number 19-548, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment of a public employee or public official to consider the purchase of property for public purposes.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-548. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
We are now recessed into executive session.
Resolution number 19-549, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second, discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-549. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
And Mr. Benton is absent.
We are adjourned.